Alright, on today's episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, we're going to start with Ryan's commentary on low-income families in Ontario.
Not my commentary. The government's. Pretty much, the government says, frick you poor people. You don't get to go to university anymore.
Nope.
That's been the Winged Wheel Podcast.
That joke, for 90% of the people listening right now, is going to seem like nothing. But to the 10% of them that watched the pre-episode video, they're going to be like, that was quality. That was a very good opening.
We are your hosts. I'm Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Kriska.
Evan's not here.
Because he's a portsman and we don't let him in here anymore.
No, yeah, we don't. So, this past week I was able to catch a game fully, like, while I was not distracted by anything else, which means I was able to tweet and everything. Having a good time, interacting with people on Twitter, and I was watching the post-game show on Fox Sports Detroit, and it was John Keating and Darren Elliott. Darren Elliott, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we're on the post-game show, and anyone who watches the Red Wings on Fox Sports Detroit knows and loves those guys. And I'm just going to play the audio of what I heard, and I laughed because, well, you'll see why.
The Ducks have a forward named Jakob Silverberg. Well, the Wings and the Ducks were humming silver bells the last time that each of them had a little bit of fortune.
So that was John Keating, and obviously it was just like he had the idea in his head and he was rolling with it, and he just stumbled a little bit on the delivery. It was just like a funny, awkward line. And I laughed, and I tweeted something like, you tried your best, John, with like a heart emoji. And I tagged him in it, because he's on Twitter, like everyone else in the hockey world. And it wasn't even a big tweet. It got like no traction. Like it wasn't that funny. It was just a throw. I forgot about it. It was like a set and forget kind of thing. And then the next day, I was like, oh, I wonder if he saw this or interacted with it. And so I went and clicked on his profile, and it was like, at John Keating, FSD has blocked you. You cannot see any of his tweets. I was like, John, no! I didn't mean it, John! Please!
These are the type of obstacles on our road to becoming a legitimate podcast.
And people have been calling for us to have John Keating on the episode for years, like months and months and months and months and months. From time to time, he's one of the most prevalent. Like when we call on you guys to say, like, hey, if you want someone on the show, like tag him on Twitter, tag us, tag them, and then let's see what we can make happen. He comes up often, and I think we might have actually tweeted at him from time to time. Never a response. Most of the time, you don't get one. And the one time we get through to him, he's just, yeah, what? I don't know, I think I maybe caught him on a bad day. Was that bad? I don't think it was...
No, I don't think so. I get worse on a daily basis.
From me?
Yeah.
I was sad. I was at work and I was sad. I went and showed my coworkers. I was like, look, I accidentally bullied someone. I'm so sad.
Accidentally bullied.
And this isn't even like, oh, I said something inflammatory about the Edmonton Oilers and now their fan base is rabid and hates me, and one of their beat writers has called me out and blocked me and like slandered my good name. No, this is the Red Wings. This is what I do. It's the Red Wings. One of the big Red Wings guys. I saw a couple of people. Excuse me. I'm on day 25 of my 100-day cold, annual 100-day cold. And I saw a few people say like, oh, hey, at John Keating, like, you blocked Ryan Hanna, like, just so you know. And I'm like, oh, guys, no, that's making it worse. Don't worry about it. I think what's done is done. It's part of the legacy now.
When the Red Wings are losing, it's probably best some of these people don't see our timelines.
Yeah. I always worry about that. When I get followed by an account with like a blue check mark, I'm like, oh, please don't be anyone in hockey. You're going to look back and see a whole lot of despair.
I am not going to lie, when I get followed, like, I know most of the blue check marks following me, and I'll check in on their page every once in a while to see if they're still following me or if I've scared them away. I do
that as well.
I have not found one who has strayed away yet, so apparently my whining, incessant complaining, And angry tweets are amusing to these people.
But
I know Steve's basking in it. He's living.
But I don't think Steve follows me yet.
Doesn't
I'm a
he?
little irked. You know, I'm a little irked. I actually want to check now. Okay, so when you're checking to see if you've retained your blue checkmark follows, that little second where it's loading, don't you have a moment of dread? Yeah. I actually want to check now.
There's a few, like without giving anything away, there's a few, like, legitimately big hockey media people following me, and I forget about that when I throw out my snarky little snipes at, like, Blashill or Abdelkader, and I'm like, this is in poor taste, probably.
You know what? Steve and Adam both don't follow me.
Oh.
Yeah, and Adam's due to be on the show, and so I got to tell him there's a price. There's a price of entry here.
Yeah, we should probably get Adam on soon.
Yeah, we should.
While the Leafs are struggling.
High time to
Yeah, we gotta capitalize. Maybe we'll try for next week.
Before Nylander's. Oh, Darren Millard DM'd me back and said, like, let's set a time. So yeah, that'll be one to look for.
Good, that'll be fun. Cause he's not with Sportsnet anymore. Curious to know what he's doing there.
All right, on this episode, the Detroit Red Wings have done controversial things.
Win games.
They've won games and they've had lines, and you know what? I want to yell about them just as badly as Brad, but I feel like Brad's going to do the yelling this episode.
I'm actually going to be positive on one end of the spectrum, and I'm going to be very angry on the other end of the spectrum. It's weird. I don't know how to feel. I mean, I know how to feel, but it's confusing.
There's a few. Yeah, you know, I'm going to avoid that one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple trades. A little bizarre, these trades. One of them is like 7 years old, I think, and the other one is just weird. And then we're going to be talking about some random stuff. Standings, the lockout to anticipate, future international tournaments, negotiations with the next CBA, and then, of course, head into overtime, preceded by any other tangents that Brad and I have. The Detroit Red Wings have played one game since we last spoke. I know this is late in the week. I actually had a dental emergency. I have, like, I know I've complained about it. These teeth are getting fixed on Monday, at least the two worst ones, but yesterday I was in quite a bit of pain. Anyways, that's why we're late this week, but we've only...
Ryan, we normally record on Thursdays. Today's Thursday.
Anyways. The Red Wings beat the streaking Anaheim Ducks, and by streaking I mean not in the good way. They
lost 12 or 13 in a row?
12 or 13 in a row. They're playing right now as we record. Are they up, though? I believe
they were up 3-0.
Yeah, so they beat the Anaheim Ducks 3-1. Didn't help the tank so much, and they, of course, on Saturday beat the Minnesota Wild 5-2. So that moved them from like the 28th or 29th spot all the way up to 26th. I say that in jest. I know these two games are yet but a drop.
And it's a marathon. Nothing matters.
So that game against Anaheim was like that. You could have. I would actually pay to get those 75 minutes of my life back from the first half of that game.
I missed the first half of the game, so it worked out well for me.
You didn't miss the first half of the game, Brad. Nothing happened.
Okay.
Everyone forgot they were playing. At one point, it wasn't even the players on the ice. It was just a couple Zamboni guys like fixing the net on the posts, and then the referees realized they were refereeing people who weren't actually NHL players. And they're like, well, we're not going to put the time back on the clock. And then the NHL players took the ice, and then we're still miserably boring. Anyways, it picked up after a little bit.
The Red Wings scored 3 goals in the third period.
Early fries. It was, I'm trying to remember who the goals were before I loaded up in front of me.
Anthony Mantha? Anthony Mantha, Nuss Geitquist, and Aaron Delm.
Elite finisher, Darren Helm. What a shot.
What a shot.
Why does he do that? I would prefer he... excuse me. I'd prefer he not do that. That hurt my lats. Why did that hurt my lats?
Because you haven't been to the gym in like 3 months.
Hey, shut up! I didn't come here to be attacked. Listen, man. Not all of us have the privilege of working at a gym. God, you sound like...
It helps. I still went an hour before my shift to work out today, Ryan.
Listen. When I was home over Christmas break, I go visit my family in Windsor. And my parents hate that I don't live in Windsor. Hate it. I live about 3 hours north in Waterloo, Ontario, near Kitchener, which is essentially where Brad is. It's like a Tri-City area. Not Windsor's not part of one of the three. Anyways.
Yes, we get it right.
And my dad goes, Ryan, if I could find you a job in Windsor, would you work in Windsor? I was like, if I could find me a job in Windsor, I won't work in Windsor. He's like, I'd get you a job at Ford. I was like, I would sooner kill myself. And he was like, you'll make $40 an hour. I was like, won't be much use to me if I'm dead. And he goes, what do you make, like $15 an hour? I was like, first of all, that's incredibly rude. Second of all, yes. Anyways, that's what that made you telling me I didn't go to the gym. It reminded me of my father. You remind me of my father, Brad, in a lot of ways.
It's about the same age difference here.
Same thing, yeah. Anthony Mantha scored, which inspired me to make the meme of the guy finding the scroll of truth, and he opens it up and it says Anthony Mantha won't reach 30 goals this season. He throws it away. He goes, nah! And that's how I feel, because I want Anthony Mantha to go on a heater and reach 30 goals.
That means he's got to score 19 in his next, 35?
35, yeah.
32?
He'd essentially have to be one of the highest goal scorers in the NHL.
For a majority of the NHL season.
Yeah.
I'm going to settle for 20, given the injuries he's had this year.
Yeah.
I'll be happy with that. But the exciting part, so again, optimism. We're talking about happy things. Red Wings won, but the exciting part in the third period is we got to see a full period of a line that featured Andreas Athanasiou, Dylan Larkin, and Anthony Mantha together.
It looked...
And they scored almost right away.
They looked like a legitimate actually good NHL line.
Yes.
And it's not surprising considering the stats. Again, those statistics that I referenced, that Prashant, I think, referenced from someone else from last episode, was like Bertuzzi's realistically the best person to put on that line because Mantha's like Corsi 4.
Mantha could drive his own line.
Yeah. But if you just want to overload a line, that's one hell of a way to do it, and it did not take long for that to show.
And a lot of teams are doing it right now, too. Like, you look at Calgary, you look at Colorado, you look at Boston, they're overloading a line, and they're having success with it, despite lack of depth. Because here's the problem with overloading that line. The rest of the Red Wings top 9 is awful. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, is it bad.
Oh no, they got Danny DeKaiser.
Forwards. Does he play wing all of a sudden? Can he play center? Because if we put Bertuzzi and Nyquist on the second line, that's passable. Mm. I don't know who the centerman would be. Right now it's Franz Nielsen, and that doesn't exactly inspire confidence.
What's his name? Backup goalie.
Jonathan Bernier.
Yeah, what does he do on his off games?
Hopefully second line center. Yeah, but no, it's good because you can make an argument Nyquist is one of the 3 best forwards, but essentially you have your 3 best forwards on the top line. Settle down, Rowan. I don't know. I'm conflicted on whether or not I like this. I objectively love watching this line. Okay, that period of hockey was thrilling. It finally looked like Detroit had a legitimate NHL top line, which sounds overly simplistic, but it looked good. It wasn't just Dylan Larkin carrying the corpse of Justin Abdelkader to the net and forcing the puck in the net himself. But then it yields a question, because the rest of Detroit's forwards are so bad, is it better to put an Anthony Mantha on the second line with like a Tyler Bertuzzi and have a Darren Helm, or even Bertuzzi himself up on the top line with those other 2 guys, and then have some balanced scoring? Because I legitimately don't know. Because it works for Boston, but Boston's got really good defense, but they don't have a ton of depth on forward. Colorado has almost no depth on forward, and their season's imploding lately, so I don't know. I say give it a shot. Let's ride this for a couple weeks, see how things go, and then we might have an answer.
The thing about it is, I don't believe there's any kind of like gospel or like set way of doing this right now, because I think these questions only really apply to teams who have a reasonable set of deployable players.
This is true.
And so you almost get like your hands tied. You either spread out your players and hope for like what is essentially like RNG, like that game, whether the right players get the right breaks and then you reach 3 goals, or you focus all of your offensive output on 1 or 2 lines, hope they don't get shut down, and then you reach 3 goals that way. But then you get absolutely dominated on both ends of the ice for the other, 3/4 of the time those players aren't playing, which would lead to a record kind of like what Detroit has. 2-game win streak, notwithstanding.
Against 2 of the coldest teams in the NHL.
2-game win streak.
Speaking of lines, I'm still rattled. My dream almost became a reality in the game against Anaheim when I saw the day before, the practice lines, when Jacob De La Rose was nursing an injury, and the fourth line was Martin Ferk, Christopher Ain, and Justin Abdelkader. We had the Firkin A line.
Firkin
It
A,
was
boys.
there, and De La Rose had to heel and play like an a-hole, and ruined all my dreams. I tweeted that after that practice. I said, oh my god, the Firkin A line is happening, and it's one of my top 5 most liked tweets of all fucking time.
Really?
Yeah.
How many did it get?
200, it's at 200 something right now.
Oh, wow.
Also, my next tweet, which is the perfect transition, was in the same day when I saw the same lineup, and I started going on an absolute mission about why Blashill needs to be gone, because Danny DeKeyser's back! And because Danny DeKeyser's back, Jeff Blashill decided to scratch Philip Hronek. You know, Philip Hronek, the Red Wings defenseman, with 5 points in his last 5 games.
The hottest defenseman the Red Wings have.
This was, my tweet essentially said, if anybody ever defends Blashill or wants to know why he should be fired, just frame that lineup and send it to him.
Someone clip what Brad just said, so the next time he defends Blashill, you can frame that lineup and just...
When the hell was the last time I defended
I
Blashill?
don't know. Legitimately, I don't know. But I think it would be hilarious if it did end up happening.
Oh, my... This is stupid on so many levels. Let's examine why this is stupid on every level. Shall we do this, Ryan?
Let's do it, Brad.
Let's pretend Jeff Blashill is coaching for his job here and he needs wins above all else, okay? Because he is a coach on an expiring contract. This probably is the mentality he should be taking. The more wins he can get down the stretch, the more likely he is to keep his job. Now, to win games, you want to have successful defensemen helping with the offense. Could I be crazy in assuming that 5 points in 5 games is probably helping the team?
Oh, I mean, it depends on what philosophy you subscribe to. But for the sake of your argument, yes.
Yes. Has Philip Hronek progressed pretty well in his recent call-up and has been getting better? His defensive game isn't perfect, but it's stronger. His puck movement and his rushes are arguably the best on the team right now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're trying to win the damn game, you put him in the lineup. And it's not like these are the Nashville Predators or the Tampa Bay Lightning who can parade out 6 decent defensemen every day. Philip Hronek is out of the lineup, and the whatever you want to call it, shadow of Nicholas Cronwall is in there. The human Easter Island statue that is Jonathan Ericsson is still in the goddamn lineup.
I'm not in the physical state to receive this rant right now.
And Hronek is out.
Brad.
This is... And Trevor Daley's coming back. What this tells me, too, okay? If we want to look, Trevor Daley's still out. All the other... This move proved to me that there is absolutely zero accountability to the veterans on this team. So do you know what that means when Trevor Daley comes back? Goodbye, Cholowski. He's in the press box.
Well, no, because he's playing the most minutes of any defenseman. Just kidding. He plays
Playing the least minutes of...
By a lot. By like 3-4 minutes on average.
Right now, you can make a legitimate argument. Dennis Cholowski and Philip Hronek are the best defensemen on this team. Mike Green and Nick Jensen might have something to say about that, but Nick Jensen doesn't produce any offense, so take that with whatever you will. Danny DeKeyser, Trevor Daley, Jonathan Ericsson, and Nicholas Cronwall do not provide any more tangible value than Cholowski and Hronek, but we're going to reach a point in this season, barring Ken Holland actually trading before the deadline, where they are both going to be out of the lineup. Nothing to do with injuries.
Mike Babcock, if you're Mike Babcock, wouldn't you love to have a Riley or Gardner and Jensen pairing?
Toronto's a good candidate to trade for Jensen.
Seriously, because...
But when's the trade deadline? Because he's not getting moved a minute before that day.
No, of course not. It's in like just over a month.
But no,
I must interject your rant, Brad.
I'm not done, so yes, please interject.
The Red Wings are 2-0 in their last 2 games. And that's all I want to say!
Against a team on a 12-game losing streak, I'm not entirely convinced my beer league team wouldn't hold strong against Anaheim right now.
Hey.
And Minnesota, who has also been collapsing lately. So much to the point they got rid of one of their best goal scorers for a 4th liner.
Don't make jokes about beer league teams. I have a friend who loves playing on a beer league team.
Yes.
It's you.
I know. Evan enjoys it too, but he hates his team. Okay, so I'm done my rant about if you're trying to win the game, why this is stupid. Let's go to the real reality here, okay? This is a write-off season for Detroit. No matter how hot they get the rest of the year, they are way too far gone to make the playoffs here. So the rest of this season is about development. I do not care if Dennis Cholowski or Filip Hronek are getting the most minutes on the Red Wings defense. If they're somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes a night, fantastic. Let's give them some time on the power play. Let's get them some ice time. Let's learn them the ropes. What good is this doing Filip Hronek? And based on the lines in practice today too, it looks like he's out the next game as well. He has proven he is good enough. He is excelling at the NHL level. There's nothing left in Grand Rapids for him. But even so, if you're not going to play him on the damn Red Wings, put his ass in Grand Rapids where he can play. The press box is nothing for him.
No, the press box is good because when you look from above, you see your mistakes all nice and real, like, you know?
Yeah, you can realize, oh God, I should request a trade. This is horrifying to me that now Cholowski is getting the least amount of ice time of every defenseman on this team. Filip Hronek is not in the lineup. We are talking about defensive rookies who are number 3 and 4 in the league for points per game. What more do they have to do for BLASHILL'D to go, you know what, maybe they're more valuable than the Blarney Stone that is Jonathan Ericsson?
Where are you getting at this?
I am just thinking of big stationary objects and rolling with it, okay?
I can't handle you today. Oh.
This is among the dumbest thing I have seen Jeff Blashill do in his tenure as Red Wings coach, and that is saying something.
Someone asked, or I think Greg Krupa might have asked him about it, or Greg Krupa at least tweeted about this. He was asked about Hronek, and he said maybe sometime in the next couple of weeks, definitely not next game. Blashill said, quote, "I don't like to change the lineup after a win," which is a hysterical thing to come from a coach of the team who has like the least amount of ROWs or wins in the league.
Ryan, you don't even need to make that big of an argument. So, Filip Hronek got scratched for the Anaheim game, right? What the hell happened the game before? Right, the Red Wings won. And then he changed the lineup against Anaheim.
No, you see, you're not getting it, Brad. He doesn't like to change the lineup after a win, and so that's why he doesn't want to. Don't.
There is nothing left.
Don't bring your logic into this winning culture. It's about the intangibles, Brad. We have a culture of winning, and the fans expect a good product on the ice. We got to win. You get a good culture of winning. You do whatever you can to win with the culture, Brad.
You know what you know when I'd like to win? Next year and the year after. You know what's going to help that? Filip Hronek in the lineup.
All right, wild card. Trade Filip Hronek. Just do it.
Might as well. Can we trade him for a new coach? I might actually do that.
Remember when that was a thing? Imagine this was the NFL. We could just trade. We could have traded Babcock for like a 3rd round pick.
Didn't we get a compensatory? Yeah, I was going to say.
We got a 3rd for it.
Did that not turn into Surrey Irving?
Maybe. Which could turn into something.
Might have been the year after, so maybe not. The year before, sorry.
And Sorry Arby has turned into something that we could complain about in the future. So.
Yeah, no, if Blashill's back next year, either next year or the year after, Vili Sariarvi is going to be the new Filip Hronek.
If Yzerman doesn't take over next year, I seriously believe Blashill will be back.
I'm betting on it.
I'm not even kidding.
If you ask me to put $20 on the table, is Blashill coming back or not right now, I'm saying he's back. And honestly, I'd probably root against the Red Wings next year. Like, I'm still a fan, but I will wish nothing but failure. And then just look at them at the end of the year, get a media pass for that post-game press conference with Ken Holland at the end of the year. Just look at him and go, all right, Ken, now what have you learned? It's like when Mika, I say, don't touch that, don't touch that, touches it, falls on her. Ow! What have you learned? I need to start taking this approach with the Red Wings, because this is getting hilariously sad.
I just read a quote, and It's not related to what we're talking about. I do want to bring it up. We can get back to the Red Wings, but while this is
I don't want to.
Gord Miller on TSN said, I don't have a vote on it, but he might be the GM of the year. Guess who he was talking about? Take any guess.
Okay, it's going to have to be one of the laughably bad ones. I'm assuming it's not Ken Holland.
No.
You said it's not Red Wings
No,
related.
it's not Red Wings related.
Definitely not Peter Chiarelli.
No, it's not. As much as I would have loved for that to be the case, it's not.
Oh my god, he's going to say Mark Bergevin.
He said Mark Bergevin.
Oh my god.
Okay. Look, yes, Mark Bergevin has done awful things to Montreal. However, seeing this listed out, I kinda, if you look at it in a 1 year vacuum, almost understand the sentiment. He traded Galchenyuk for Domi, which actually turned like
that worked out pretty well for them.
Against everyone's expectations.
Yep, that worked out well.
They traded Pacioretty for Tatar, who's replicating Pacioretty's production. And they also got Suzuki in a second.
Yeah, I think everybody thought that was a pretty good trade for Montreal.
And it was a good trade.
Yeah.
He had a good draft, really. Kotkaniemi seems to have been a good pick.
No Phillips Zadina.
What your feelings are on about their depth signings, like Agostino and whatever, is up to you. He extended Deneau, Domi, and Byron on pretty decent deals. They had a lot of good prospects in the World Juniors, and his team is in a playoff spot. They were like 1 point behind the Leafs.
You know what helps with that? Carey Price.
Yeah.
Who's been putting up over the last month to 6 weeks just his normal Carey Price, otherworldly numbers.
This is the same guy who traded a top 3 to 5 defenseman in the league when he was in his prime, when he, like, at the end of his prime, for a top 3 to 5 defenseman in the league in, like, just the beginning of his prime. Sorry, just backwards.
Yeah.
The other way. He essentially mortgaged the future for no reason at all. However, GM of the Year is a 1 year award.
Not everything is black and white.
No. Nice. Yeah. So, it being a 1 year award, would you accept all that argument as a rationale to vote for him for GM of the Year?
Trying to think. I'm going to say no, but he's definitely in the top half of the league for this year. Because you have to look... The problem is the GM of the Year does not get credit when his team's already good. Right? You know what I mean? And it happens the same thing with coaching, right? Like, John Cooper's not going to win the Jack Adams this year, even though Tampa's insane. These two awards always go to the team that, you did better than we thought, regardless of the circumstance.
Yeah.
Again, GM of the Year, how do you not, again, go back to George McPhee? Vegas didn't fall off. They are still one of the best teams in the NHL. Washington did not fall off. They are still one of the best teams in the NHL. There are a lot of candidates here. Doug Wilson in San Jose just keeps that team rolling year after year after year. Despite the aging core, he finds ways to get the Timo Meyers, the Erik Karlssons, and keep them competitive. Calgary went from missed the playoffs last year to one of the best teams in the NHL this year. And that's even with them whiffing on James Neal, who's been terrible this year.
I think Treliving is probably definitely up there.
Yeah, like there are a lot of candidates here. So, could Bergevin be in the running? Absolutely. Let's not forget, it was only a short time ago Peter Chiarelli was nominated. So,
he was a finalist. Peter Chiarelli was a finalist.
Remember
and now
that.
I think he's wanted for murder. Is that what it is? Oh no, he just ruined it. Ruined hockey. If you're Peter Chiarelli and someone offers you 10 first-round picks, their next 10 first-round picks for Connor McDavid, do you do it?
no, because it's Connor McDavid.
Alright, they offer you their next 10 first-round picks and Danny DeKeyser. I'm just any random team. It could be anyone, and they offer you Danny DeKeyser.
How could I say no now?
I'm sorry for railroading us. Other things we wanted to talk about. What are the upcoming games?
Who cares? There's going to be no reason to watch.
Oh, there's plenty of reason to watch. They have Calgary on Friday. Vancouver on Sunday. And we're going to be live streaming for patrons on Sunday.
This is a Sunday.
Yeah. 4 p.m. Odds that Evan double booked and overbooked or something.
Can we go north of 100% here?
Yeah, I will take those. Yeah, I will take
That's
money on that.
112%.
Yeah, I know I'm losing money, but yes, I will take that. Yeah, I'll take your bet on that because it's guaranteed. And he'll never know that we were shit talking because he doesn't listen.
Yeah.
We love Evan. We truly do. So they have Calgary and Vancouver. Those are the 2 games of the 3 on their West Coast road swing, and then they got Edmonton on Tuesday. But you'll hear from us before then. Anything else about the Red Wings? Nah.
They make me sad even when they win.
There was a couple trades in the NHL. One, I want to first talk about the one that came out today, where I just looked at it and went, "Wait, what?" Like my reaction out loud was, "Wait, what?" It was Victor Rask of Carolina traded to Minnesota in exchange for Nino Niederreiter. All right, we talk about a couple things. Victor Rask is fine.
He's an underrated player. He's a very serviceable NHL player. He's had a couple seasons he's got pretty close to 50 points, which I would guess most people who are now hearing about Victor Rask go, wow, he had 48 points in a season? And 46? Wow. I would not have guessed that. Those were his career highs, by the way.
I don't love his contract.
Yeah, I don't love Niederreiter's either, to be fair, though.
All right, Victor Rask has 6 points in 26 games.
Oh, yeah, he's fallen off a cliff this year.
Last year he had 31 points in 71 games. So somehow...
Respectable for a bottom 6 forward.
Nino Niederreiter has 23 points in 46 games, so half a point per game player.
Which is a down season for him.
Yeah.
Which is right now, at a half a point per game, that would be 41 points over a full season, which is getting close to Victor Rask's career high.
His highest 82 game total is 57 points, which was 2-3 years ago.
So a 19-point difference between Victor Rask's career high.
Still, just watching them, you get the impression that Niederreiter is better.
Yes, I think that's a fairly safe assumption.
Like considerably better.
Yes.
He can slot in your top 6. He's a really good winger. He's 26 years old. You might not love the contract, but it's pretty stomachable in knowing that the guy still probably has something left in the tank in terms of growth, if not like sustained production. Yeah, he's having an off year on the Wild, but it's the Minnesota Wild.
They're all having off years this year.
That's a pretty decent trade on Carolina's end. They want to add scoring, and they did it for essentially nothing.
Yeah, they did it for their 4th line center. I don't know if Rask was playing on his 4th line center, but he's been producing like a 4th line. Well, he's been producing like an AHL center, but essentially he's been producing like a 4th line center. Luke Glendening has more goals than him.
I think I can't remember what Manny's stat was. Like 58th ranked forward. Yeah, that's when he had Niederreiter and he had Rask, like the 150th ranked forward, something like that.
Nothing about this made sense unless Niederreiter was a cancer in the room.
Which almost is never the case.
It's very rarely the case.
Hockey locker rooms, just a spoiler, are terrible, terrible places full of awful people and shitty, terrible things to say.
Yes.
So if you're labeled as a cancer in the dressing room,
you are actually Hitler.
Yeah, like it's not. You must have done something bad, like wear a tracksuit or take a picture with money. No one got on Bufflin for throwing his clothes in the shower. I would have been so mad. It's Winnipeg. It's cold. You're going to walk outside with wet clothes. You're going to get sick. He's going to get him sick. Anyways, another trade. Anaheim said they need to shake things up. So naturally, they made a trade for Michael Del Zotto, which would have been great 7 years ago.
If this Michael Del Zotto for Luke Schenn trade went down in 2010, this would have been a massive deal.
It would have been a blockbuster. Legitimately, 2011-2012 was their highest output for both those players, or among their highest output. That would have been a blockbuster deal.
And now nobody cares. Who cares?
Now people are like, Luke Schenn's still in the league?
I mean, he was immediately assigned to Utica, so...
Yeah. Where's JVR nowadays? How is
he? He's been injured this year.
He has been, yeah.
He's been injured.
Poor guy.
Look at what losing to the Red Wings does. Yeah. Minnesota and Anaheim lose to the Wings, and they both go out and make a panic trade.
21 points in 31 games.
For
JVR.
Yeah, whatever. About what you expected when, Austin Matthews isn't feeding them on the power play.
Yeah, again, kind of like a whatever trade. I don't know. If you're Anaheim...
Delzato's, serviceable.
Yeah, but is he going to move the needle?
More than Luke Shen was going to.
Considering he didn't play in the pros. I think a 7th round pick was also moved, or something like that.
To Vancouver, I would assume.
Yeah.
Hey, that can get them an Otto Kivenmaki. They
They
had another 3 points recently in the Finnish Junior League.
If you're Anaheim, you're Bob Murray, and you're saying this team has lost a lot of games in a row. The players are uneasy. The fans are restless. I need to make a move. I need to make a change. Whose fault is this that an otherwise talented team is losing so much? I know. It's Luke Shen's. Let's get rid of the bastard.
And Andrew Coglianos.
Meanwhile, Randy Carlyle lives another day. I really thought Detroit was going to get Randy Carlyle fired when they beat him.
No, Murray came out in full support. I think said he's going to finish the year. Randy Carlyle, where every team he's ever gone to, gets massively outshot despite the talent level of the team. Every time. Everywhere he goes. It's his trademark. Continues to be employed by an NHL team. And the sad reality is, I take him over BLASHILL'D at this point. Anyways, back to the Ducks.
Do we have to go back to the Ducks? They're kind of worse to talk about than Detroit right now.
No, they're not. Because they're going to win tonight.
They're
They're still 2 points out of a playoff spot. The Western Conference is so bad.
Chicago's about to lose to New York. Stop tanking Chicago. You're ruining the fun. I'm trying to see what other...
St.
LA's
Louis
beating
is
Dallas.
losing. Damn it.
St. Louis lost.
Damn it.
That's not good for Detroit.
Anaheim. Oh, no. I'm like, hey, look, Anaheim's winning. They're up 3-0 at the end of the second. Against the Minnesota Wild. Come on.
Yeah.
LA's winning. It's the second period.
Yeah, Detroit, Chicago.
New Jersey lost. Yeah, this is not going well for us tonight.
No. Detroit's going to finish with the 6th overall pick again.
Bowen Byram's going to get picked right ahead of us, and I'm going to
Hey,
By the way, Cam York.
Yeah.
Cam York.
I know, yeah.
USNDDP defenseman just set the USHL record for points in a game. Let me clarify. Cam York, the USNDDP defenseman, set the record for points in a USHL game. Not by a defenseman. Period. Total. End of statement. 7 points in a game. That's the all-time record. Austin Matthews never did it. Jack Eichel never did it.
Quinn Hughes never did it.
I know I mentioned him briefly as potentially slipping into the top 10 of this draft. I think we might need to reevaluate. I think he probably is going to be in the top 10 of this draft.
Okay, but how fast can you say USNDTP? DTP?
I got it right the last time, but there's no way I get it right again.
No.
USNDDP.
NDTP.
Yeah.
USNDDP.
National Development Program.
Team program.
Team program.
USNDTP. That's not bad.
USNDTP.
Prominent came out with more prospect rankings.
Philip Zadina was number 4.
Yeah. You want to know who's number 1 or 2?
Number 1 was Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes.
To be fair, I love Corey. He's my favorite guy to read on prospects, but he's had an unhealthy love bias for Quinn Hughes for a long time.
Yes. There is a real chance that Quinn Hughes, all of the things that we were worried about Quinn Hughes, he kind of rounds them out and he becomes like a PK Subban. At which point, oh boy, will this podcast have to eat crow.
No, we said he was good. We never said he was bad.
We never said he was bad, but we actually were pretty...
We had him as, I think, our second... Well, not counting Darlene. So, not counting Darlene, our second-ranked prospect.
That was realistic for Detroit to get. I was still a Blomqvist over Hughes, guys, actually. By the time draft came around, I don't think I got on the Hughes train enough. We all of us started out pretty middling on Hughes, and then we came around, we were like, okay, no, we realized why everyone's so high on him. It was to a point where if Detroit drafted Hughes over Bouchard, which is what we wanted at the time, we wouldn't have been upset.
Yeah.
And again, it's early. Pronman does incredible insight and research. He's so worth reading.
He's got to be watching 4 hockey games a day. I can't process the amount of information
He's like poker players who play 8 hands on 3 different screens.
I can't.
And his stuff is always very valuable, but I do, you're right. It's like a writing style, you know? When you can recognize an author, he does have skill sets and prospects that he seems to favor, and he's not wrong for doing it necessarily.
It's like me with Joe Veleno. I'll never be able to objectively rank Joe Veleno because I've been on the Veleno train for years.
Yeah.
And now that he's a Red Wing, it did me no favors.
And the nice thing is when you're talking about the world of prospects, assigning an arbitrary ranking or trying to make predictions on them is just that, arbitrary. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's biased, but his bias is like you're reaching into an empty vacuum and it affects nothing.
And ranking prospects is so subjective. There is so much, like, because just even how you evaluate tools, like me and Corey could look at the exact same prospect and go, he has the best shot of any player not in the NHL, and I have him outside my top 10 rankings, and he'll have him number 3. Like, in this case, I'm referring to, like, an Owen Tippett. But, he had Hughes number 1, Tippett number 3. Who do you have number 2 again?
I don't know, I'll pull it up.
But, because he only had 3 truly elite prospects, Zadina was the top of his high-end list.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, because would I have had Hughes as my number 1 prospect? No, probably not. He would have been up there. He would have been in my top 5 at worst.
And this is of all NHL prospects. So, like,
but
for example, Nikash and Makar are on this list.
Yeah.
So he has obviously Quinn Hughes number 1, Martin Nikash number 2,
Necas,
Owen Tippett number 3, and that's his elite.
Yeah.
High end.
Which I will say I do not put Owen Tippett in my elite category. Tippett might not get in my top 10, truthfully.
Zadina's top number 4 overall, highest in his Anyways.
Yeah, number 4 overall on his list is Philip Zadina.
Philip Zadina over
which is fantastic.
Barrett Hayton.
Haha.
And Jordan Kyrou.
Haha.
And Grigory Denisenko.
Haha.
Rasmus Kupari, Cody Glass, Cale Makar number 10, which is surprising.
That seems low to me, because to me...
I have not followed Makar, so I don't know.
To me, Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar are essentially the same player. Except Makar's a little bigger, not much, and Hughes is a little bit more of a gambler, which I appreciate from a defenseman. So if you're having Hughes that high, I don't see how you don't put Makar in your top 10 as well, like in your top 5, but that's why these things are subjective.
For a second, I was like, where's Miro Heiskanen? And then I realized, he's an
NHL
pairing defenseman.
I believe, if we're going to relate his list to the Red Wings too, Joe Veleno was number 37, ahead of a lot of players who were drafted ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
And another player that would have made his list, had he not been in the NHL, was Philip Hronek. Because he had a list of guys that would have made his list, had they not been now been in the NHL, so...
Lundqvist was number 16. Where's Bouchard? 24. Whoa.
But Corey, again, remember his pre-draft rankings, he was never very high on Bouchard. So, that's not likely to change. Again, biases are hard to overcome. Like, I have to accept the reality that there's a very good chance Joe Veleno might just be Lars Eller.
Watch what you say on this podcast, bro.
I have to, there's a possibility. I wouldn't bet on it, but I have to accept that might happen. Which is still a very, very, very useful NHL player. Which is fantastic. If Detroit gets a Lars Eller at pick 30, that's still a home run.
Yeah, the players who would have made it had they not been in the NHL. Mason Appleton, Mackenzie Blackwood, Henrik Borgstrom, Michael Dalcoli, Thatcher Demko, Carter Hart, Rupe Hintz. That's the best name in the league. Philip Hronek, Luke Kunin, and Lawrence Pilut. Huh.
Yep.
Philip Hronek.
Woo!
It's an interesting list. Always worth a read.
We're going to probably have to start getting into more prospect talk going forward on the podcast soon. Now. Especially leading up to the trade deadline is picks are going to be swapped and people are going to wonder, hey, who's this pick going to turn into? So, might start a prospect spotlight in a week or two.
Very quickly, speaking of trade deadline, Edmonton has apparently gone all out. Scouts at every game in the NHL looking for scoring wingers.
I know where you're going. Don't do this. I can't get my hopes up.
They don't have the cap space.
No, they don't. Nick Jensen makes $600,000.
You can package Gustav Nyquist and Nick Jensen.
Retain half the salary, so Edmonton's only taking on like $2 million in change.
Because they're going for the playoffs this year. Sorry. Peter Chiarelli's going for the playoffs. Sorry, Peter Chiarelli's trying to save his job this year. And so I think if you retain half the salary on Jensen and Nyquist, you could literally get Connor McDavid.
They said their first round pick is very much in play. That might be a lottery pick.
That could be a lottery pick. Yeah, it might not be a very high lottery pick, but if you have the opportunity to add 3% to your chances at getting Jack Hughes or Capo Caco, you add 3% to your chance of getting Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. Or if you want unbearable amounts of hype on this podcast every day up until the draft lottery, you could have Jack Hughes and Capo Caco. We will, every podcast will literally just be us going, all the way up until the draft lottery. We will just yell.
Hi, welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast. He's Ryan Hanna. I'm Brad Crisco.
Evan will show up for the first time in a while in like April and be like, "What's going on?" And then we won't see him again.
Then we just look at him.
Yeah, Edmonton's limited, so Detroit would have to take back a contract. I don't know who they would take they would have to bear for like a couple of years.
It would only have to be $1 million or $2 million. It wouldn't have to be much. It could
Tobias Reeder. I don't know what they feel about him.
Actually, Reeder's good. They probably don't want to trade him, but
no.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, I don't know if it's Jensen and Nyquist, and you retain half the salary in exchange for Reeder and a first.
Come on, man. Let's aim realistic here. Reeder first and Cooley RV. This is Peter Shirley, man. We gotta aim for the sky.
Okay, I know it won't. This would no GM should make this trade. Puljujärvi in a first for Nyquist and Jensen, where Detroit retains half the salary. That's not a trade that should happen. But would Peter Shirley do it? Is the question.
Maybe. Hold on, we gotta throw in a good veteran presence.
Trevor Daley.
Danny DeKaiser.
Oh, don't give away all our assets. We could be trading Danny DeKaiser to Peter Shirley for something great. I'll just give him away as an extra in a deal.
Fine, Trevor Daley.
You make a good point, sir. Quick hit. The NHL and the NHLPA have made the rare move, and I don't say that ironically, of meeting more than once now, I believe, in advance of the collective bargaining agreement coming up, not this summer, but the next.
Yeah. So we have at least one more season of hockey before the inevitable heat death of the universe.
So both sides typically hold out for a long time. A lot of factors are at play for both the league and the Players Association to come to the table early. For the league, it's mostly optics, and they're actually playing it very well in my mind. They know the players want the Olympics. They can say, hey, if you want the Olympics, let's meet early. The players are obliged to take them up on that because obviously everyone wants the Olympics. And as much as that feel-good commercial made us feel good about watching that Team Canada team in the Olympics, or Team USA.
I've already forgotten that commercial.
Let us remind you, those Olympics were god-awful, and the hockey world will literally never be able to replace the missed opportunity of Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby playing together in 2018.
I mean, if we go to the Olympics in 2022, they're both going to be playing.
Right, but you would want Crosby 4 years sooner.
Oh, no, I agree.
It was like Mario Lemieux in 2002, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, so they've come to the table twice. The owners are pretty happy with their stake in revenue. It's 50-50 split right now. I don't think they'd be so bold as to push for more. I don't think the players would ever win a fight of trying to get some back. The issues, though, as much as they always seem big, escrow comes into play, blah, blah, blah. The league is doing well in an altogether poor Canadian economy. Yeah, the American economy has been pretty good the past couple of years. We'll see how that goes in the next couple of years.
Also, apparently, there's some gripes from the NHLPA about what constitutes hockey-related revenue and what doesn't. I don't know nearly enough to know where the sticking point on that lies, just that it is a sticking point.
Just know this. There's always going to be enough gripes to fill a vacuum. And if that's one of them, like the classification of what's hockey revenue, and we're talking like 0.5% on any given day of revenue, that's a good sign. But there isn't a threshold for how big a gripe should be for this to end in a lockout, because literally anything can cause this to end in a lockout. When you have Jeremy Jacobs running the show with the ownership group, you're gonna have, if you say Jeremy Jacobs, Mika will scream from upstairs. It invokes the ghost of Boston past. I'm not hopeful, and I don't trust anyone involved. I don't think the PA is necessarily well represented. I don't think the ownership group always has the players or fans' best interest in mind.
Wait, you mean the rich white guys don't have the common folk in mind? Shocking.
What did we say at the beginning of this episode? For you poor people?
Yeah.
It's the fact that I'm so jaded about the fact that we missed out on these Olympics. Yeah, we'll get them back in 2022. Yeah, they'll use it as a bargaining chip, but also, yes, the NHL is going to go back no matter what because they're in China, and that's literally the biggest, most untapped market in professional sports, professional North American sports right now. The NHL was never going to pass up that opportunity. It's literally like walking past a $20 bill and not picking it up if you're one of the poor people that we've been referencing, like me. So it's... There's a lot to be said, but it is a net positive that this is happening now, because this didn't happen the last couple times. Well, it might have, but it just was never so amicable. They came out saying that the talks were constructive. This is a group of liars lying to get the most money. So, I sound like oh my god, I sound like my father. Oh my god. You become your parents.
Here's the thing, though. They canceled the World Cup of Hockey for 2020, which I don't know how the players feel about it, but I know the NHL loved it as an extra moneymaker. The World Cup of Hockey was supposed to happen the year of the lockout, and they just decided, no, we are not going to do this. How are we supposed to read into that?
You're not. You just can't read into that.
I read into that as not a good sign.
No, but that's the thing. Just don't do it. Don't run it. Like, what a stupid thing to say out loud. We're not going to do it in 2020. You're just posturing because you know the Olympics are going to happen in 2022. That's it. Also, how many times are we going to start this? We want to start our own international block. We want to start, this is the time, we're going to start, it's like starting a new club every 6 years and saying that club's going to meet every 2 years.
If they bring back Team North America, I'm more invested in this than the Olympics, okay?
I'm not. I don't think anything will ever beat the Olympics. I do miss Team North America. Do it on offsetting years. What is your problem? Just do it on offset, like winter and summer Olympics.
This is what they planned.
But
Olympics 2022, World Cup Hockey 2020. This is what they were lining up.
No, but they only are committed to the stuff that they get revenue on.
World Cup of Hockey, which they just canceled.
Olympics, they canceled in 2018. All I'm hearing is talks about their own thing. Yes, it's a fun thing to watch.
Which they just canceled.
Yeah.
Which I am thoroughly. I actually don't know how to take that news.
They don't have time to plan it.
I just know this is two petty groups, two greedy groups, and we are barreling towards another fucking lockout, and it's going to be a damn travesty. I have no reason to be optimistic about these negotiations. None. Objectively, if we were looking at this in a vacuum, everything they've done, the fact that they're meeting earlier, the fact that they've talked multiple times, the fact that they made a joint statement, should all be positives, and I should be optimistic. I can't. Every one of the last 3 CBA renegotiations, I think, ended in a lockout. I think there might have been one between 95 and 2005 that didn't, but I'm not even sure on that.
And on that happy note, we're going to head into overtime, which of course is brought to you by our Patreon patrons. All of them get their comments read out on air, guaranteed, as our way of saying thanks. John Evans says, "Greetings from Ohio, gentlemen." Ew. Sorry, John. Wanted to ask about the hockey cliche that irritates you the most. For example, mine has to be when the team has a closed-door meeting after a series of losses. Yeah, you've been outscored 10-1 in your last 3 games. I'm sure yelling at each other without your coach there is going to fix everything. That's really funny.
That helps. It legitimately helps sometimes.
I hate, and this is, I think, only a Red Wings thing, but it has happened so many times it has become cliche. When Ken Holland says something like, getting Darren Held back from injury is our deadline acquisition. What's yours, Brad?
Intangibles.
Eric Kazlaskis says, "Is Jeff Blashill the worst? I was on the fire Blashill side of the fence, but not that adamant about it. After last night, I would like to put up a fire Blashill billboard outside the LCA. Who benches a player averaging a point per game in his last 5 games? Seriously, has any coach in history ever done that? That is my question."
Oh, I'm sure it's happened, and it was probably just as stupid then, and I'm sure the coach that did that is unemployed now. Because again, I can't stress enough, Philip Hronek, a defenseman, rookie, in a rebuilding year, was not in the lineup, but a literal rooftop gargoyle, Jonathan Erickson, was in the lineup.
The Niebler. The Niebler says, "Larkin, Mantha, happy to see you. Inject more of that into my veins the next few years. I actually enjoy it when we have 11 forwards and you get to see different looking lines. It's too bad about Hronek not playing. This org will never change. Red Wings are playing Calgary this Friday, and I'm so excited to be at the game. Last few years they played in Calgary. It's gone to overtime, but Calgary may win 7-1 this year. They are my adopted Western team. and fun to watch. A lot of talk about their goalie situation. They may need a veteran goalies on the market.
Hey! Hey, did you know that David Riddick currently has the highest goals saved above average in the NHL this year?
Shh. I kind of hope Holland doesn't wait until the 11th hour to make trades. There's definitely a market for Jensen, but I wouldn't be so sure Nyquist gets the return we expect. I think
we didn't even talk about that.
I think there's a lot of forwards before him on the trade market. Holland should be blowing up Chiarelli's phone daily. Anyways, I really enjoyed the last episode. Whatever Evan was on, make him take it again. Having a three-person discussing was more engaging as a viewer/listener. No offense to Brad and Ryan, but your takes have become predictable. It's just the two of you. He's not wrong. It's great when Evan's here.
It helps. He's a wild card, bitches.
Jeff Chen says, "Hi guys, I was watching the game last night on the Ducks feed, which, by the way, is the worst, most homer broadcast I've ever listened to."
May I introduce you to Jack Edwards?
Ooh, yeah. The only positive things about listening to the opposing broadcast is they do talk a fair bit about the opposing team. They mentioned Tag Bertuzzi, which piqued my interest. Elite Prospects has him ranked 87, and he's a center. How good is he, and what are the chances we draft him and put the 2 in Bertuzzi?
He actually plays very closely. He's spent most of his junior career down the street in Guelph. I can't say I've watched a Guelph game and actually noticed him. So I'm going to say 87 seems optimistic for him.
Philip Gastineau says, what makes a true number 1 defenseman in today's game? Everyone always says their team needs a number 1 defenseman, but if every team needs one, who actually is one? Nobody is the answer. I think there are a good 10 defensemen in the league that are a tier above the rest, but they really the only number 1 defenseman. For example, I don't think Letang is in the same tier as Burns, Weber, Carlson, Suter, Doughty, etc., but he is number 1 defenseman in today's game.
Well, that list gave me a lot of opinions that I'm not going to touch right now. Are you top 10 in the league in either defending quality or offensive quality? And are you top 15 in the other end of that spectrum? Then you are a number 1 defenseman.
And you're right that I think a good point is that, like, yeah, if you're good enough to just be that team's number 1 defenseman, like, for example, Mirror of Larkin, he's not a true number 1 center, like, he's not that top 15 centerman, but he's good enough to be Detroit's number 1 center. A team can have just a bunch of decent defensemen, great offensive output, and win 3 cups in however many years. See Pittsburgh Penguins. They won with Johnson as their best defenseman.
Wait, who? What?
Schultz.
Dumoulin.
Oh, yeah, I guess Dumoulin was better.
Yeah, Dumoulin was the number 1 defenseman while Letang was hurt. The other year they had Letang.
You can do a lot with systems. You can do a lot with a group with chemistry that plays above their typical level of play if they elevate in the playoffs and who are more or less decent. It's like having no top-level defensemen, 4 guys who could be a number 2 pairing and solid bottom pairing guys, and then just amazing offensive output and a hot goalie, and that's a winning team, like a playoff winning team. Rowan says, I know you fellas marveled at my boy elite finisher Darren Helm scoring that beautiful insurance goal to save us from the very real threat of overtime yesterday. I'll probably re-yeet that GIF a few times today. Ryan, you'll need to explain re-yeet. Rowan retweeted or said something, Red Wings related, and it was funny, and he said RY to agree. And he meant to say RT to agree, so like retweet to agree, and everyone was like responding to him, and I saw it, and all I responded was re-yeet instead of retweet, and it might be the pinnacle of my humor online. Maybe that's why John Keating blocked me. He saw that tweet. With the wildcard race in the West being pretty competitive, there could be a bit of an arms race, and I hope as sellers we can take advantage of this and pillage a team or two who then falls in a heap and misses the playoffs anyways. Saw some comments earlier today about the Wings wanting to keep Howard/Nyquist unless they can get a first, which I assume you've discussed. However, I read that as a negotiating tactic come deadline. We'll discuss that in more detail on Sunday. I want to scream into the void. I know I need to come down from it before I speak about it.
I'm going to have the opposite opinion here on Ryan because I tend to agree it's a negotiating tactic.
Jersey time. Thoughts about players on wrong era jerseys. Saw Konstantinov on a Reebok jersey this week and I was offended. I get that people can do what they want, it's their money and their jersey, but it just seems wrong. Before you say anything, yes, I'm aware of how petty this sounds, and seeing as you follow me on Twitter, and this shouldn't be a surprise. It's not the best, but if someone wants a Konstantinov jersey and they don't have the wherewithal or like really the money to try and pursue like an actual classic jersey, which sell for way too much money, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. It's the availability of the jerseys. If it's a jersey that's easily found, Like, you're not going to find an original Gordie Howe jersey. You're just not. You got to get some sort of modernized version of it if you want to have one. Like, you can get it, like I've got one, it's the old school design, and everything's true to the original, but it's a modern jersey, so it's not that different if they just put that on a current Red Wings jersey. So I'm okay with it. I personally wouldn't do it, but there's enough players on the team I like right now that I'm not buying vintage jerseys anyway, so I'm buying current players.
Chris Gatchell says, hey guys, just became a patron. Oh, welcome to the family, Chris. Thank you for your support. I just started listening before the draft. Glad I found you guys to help me get through the summer of no hockey. Recently moved from Grand Rapids, Michigan to South Bend, Indiana. Let me tell you, there's no hockey here and it really sucks. Moved from a city of 6 ice rinks, all within an hour from where I live, to a city of 2 ice rinks, and one of them for a college. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so that excuse me. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so that kind of helps. But I miss beer league hockey a ton. Beer league down here is almost $400 a session. Jesus.
A session? You had to.
Season.
Ours is $450.
Insane.
Canadian though.
Now for my questions. First, what is the highest level of hockey you guys have played? I played AA hockey my whole life.
AAA. For now, maybe.
Also, since I have a love for the Griffins, when and or if we could get you guys to come to a Griffins game, $2 beers and hot dogs on Fridays, and we're always a great time. That's all I got, and I'm always happy to listen every week. Thank you for your support, Chris. Green Spartan on Reddit, I think is his name, has been trying to get us out to it. We really do need to do a Grand Rapids game.
We'll do something probably next season when the funds and the time to do so. We do not, because I hear so much good things about Grand Rapids just as a city. Make like a week of it, or at least a long weekend of it. But
Mark Burnham says, "Boy, was that Anaheim game a snooze fest. Can't feel too good about that one, even with the W. Looked like all our guys went back to being afraid to shoot the puck, especially after CU. Also, they were consistently trying to force plays that weren't there. Is it just me, or do the Red Wings spread their players out way more than any other team, even with control in the offensive zone? Just seems like they're so far apart, there's never an easy pass, and they just try to force long passes or shots through."
I'm going to have to do a deep dive one day and explain why everything the Red Wings do in the offensive zone is stupid and bad.
Hashtag deep dive. Ignoring our fandom and hatred for certain teams on principle, if you were in the NHL, which teams would you want to least be traded to?
Least be traded to? So,
Ottawa.
Ottawa right now, Dallas.
Yeah, you never want that from an ownership group.
No.
Edmonton, if not for McDavid. Everyone will be happy to play with the best player in the world.
Yeah, Edmonton might be on my no-trade list if I had a 10-team list.
You wouldn't want, like, a...
I wouldn't want to do Toronto or Montreal. That's just... I have no problem with the attention in the spotlight, but there gets to a point where it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And those two teams would fall into it. Boston, under principle.
He said ignore that. Evan Beckner says, "Hey guys, can you believe how lazy Mantha has been lately? Just coasting to a point a game since returning. But for real though, how sexy is the white stick he uses? I love white hockey equipment."
The more I think about it, it's funny too, because CCM hasn't produced that white stick in a few years now. But there's still a couple players, Mantha and Joe Pavelski and San Jose, who use it, and they use it with white tape. And when you watch on the broadcast, I know that a lot of people like to use black tape on their blade to hide the puck. But I was thinking about it, goalies are good. They're going to pick up the puck. I kind of think Mantha and Pavelski are onto something with we're going to hide the angle of the stick.
It's not a bad idea.
Because the goalie's going to see the puck no matter what. Because I've talked to my goalie friends. I'm like, does black tape really hide it? They're like, no, I can see everything. And I'm like, okay, but I never asked. If I put all white tape up there and on a white stick, does that really screw with the angle on you? Hinder the release point? There might be something to that.
He also says, also Ryan, don't be too mad at Ken Holland yet. He's had killer deadlines the last few seasons. I know, I'm reserving judgment for now.
Oh, and also on the aesthetics thing though, it's not necessarily the most functional, but black sticks with white tape on the bottom look the best.
Yeah, as a defenseman, I always did black tape on the blade just to hide the puck. Anyways, Dan Bell says, "Hey gents, posting this kind of late, not sure if I'll make the pod." You made it, Dan. But if I'm listening to you read this, then obviously I did. This is very meta. Hi, self. Anywho, how fun are the young kids? They're about the only interesting thing about the Red Wings this year. Glad to see most of them performing, even though BLASHILL'D is the coach. On a side note, I recently discovered NHL 19 threes online. Wow, so much fun. No rules, just hit anything that moves. What a blast. I actually love that game mode. Kind of over Red Dead 2. It's just such a long game. Clayton's not going to like that one. Anthem comes out next month, and that just looks amazeballs. Cheers. Connor Jager says, hey guys, just curious if you saw the one-time only jerseys that the Griffins are playing on Saturday. They look pretty sick to me, being auctioned off after the game, and some blank ones are being sold on eBay sometime after. Wish I had $1,000 lying around to get Zadina's. My question...
Oh, you think Zadina's is going to go for just $1,000? That's cute.
The Grand Rapids always does great one-off jerseys.
Every year. The one they had with the gold in it a year or two ago, oh my god. If it wasn't expensive to do a 3-color, those were going to be my beer league jerseys.
Favorite jersey that you own? Already have a signed jersey. Mine will be the in-progress 09 Winter Classic Nick Lidstrom jersey. Garrett TV says, hey fellas, in case you hadn't noticed, the Chicago Bears kicker missed the would-be game-winning field goal in the NFL playoffs a couple weeks ago. Oh, I didn't miss that. Predictably,
Double doink.
Double doink. It was tipped. Predictably, a bunch of Yahoo armchair QBs chirped how they could have made the 43-yard kick. And in response, a local brewery gave them a shot to do just that and win NFL tickets. All 100 attempts failed, many hilariously. My question for you is, what's the NHL equivalent? What specific skill or job that fans probably take for granted watching NHL games? For me, it's always been hitting an off-balance one-timer, passing, pass to your feet, or perhaps a defenseman changing lateral direction while skating backwards against a fast attacking player. Or simply even finishing on a clean breakaway. Thoughts?
Okay,
I think the one... Yeah, go ahead.
one-timer. Even quick release. Like, if you're standing in the slot and the puck comes to you and you cushion it on your stick and go for a wrist shot right away, any sort of one-timer or quick release is hard. I've been playing hockey for 27 years now. I can connect on a one-timer and get power on it. If it hits the net, I'm thrilled. Like, it is so hard to hit, let alone control. The quick release, anything where the puck is bouncing. Breakaways are one of the easiest parts of the game of hockey. If you're a good player, you just make one quick move or just pick your spot and hit it. Breakaways are easy. Not in terms of the goalie will beat you sometimes because that's the nature of the beast, but yeah, no, one-timers. One-timers. These guys make it look so damn easy. It is hard just to connect with the puck, let alone hit the net, let alone hit the corner. This is why Alex Ovechkin is a freak. He can get a bullet pass from across the ice, wind up on a full slap shot, and put it exactly in the net where he wants. It is impossible.
I had an answer, but I was narrowly I was very heavily distracted by Mika trying to make an escape downstairs. Not once, but thrice.
Yeah.
She opened the door and went, Daddy! With that, we are actually out of time for this episode. We do have to go try and retrieve Evan's body from the morgue. We seem to have been the only human contact he had for his entire life, although I don't know if we could identify what he looks like. We want to thank everyone for supporting the show, all of our listeners, our Patreon patrons, our name-level sponsors, Sean Levine, Chad Hiersack, Sky Carcass, Arjun Shanker, Clayton Van Dyken, Langabeer, Derek Shippert, Ryan Lewis, Kaylin Wood, Charlie Elkins, Stan Olson, Dan Bell, and Hannah Lee. Thank you all so much. If you want to support the show, follow us on Twitter at WingedWheelPod, and then follow our individual accounts in the bio. We love being active on Twitter. Like, subscribe, however you get your podcast. Leave a rating on iTunes is huge for us. We will see you on Sunday. Remember, Patreon patrons, there's going to be a live stream of the game against Vancouver. Brad and I will be there. Mika will be there. The dogs will be there. Evan's body, like Weekend at Bernie's, will be there. You better be there.